Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Genshin Impact. Today we're going to be talking about the nightmare that is leveling up a character and how actually a free-to-play is feeling with Eula. I love Eula, she's great, but God, in order to get anything like these 15,000 damage, I should stop. Because it's not necessary, it's just RNG. Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about Eula. But we're also going to be talking about how absolutely frustrating and nightmarish it is to level her up, especially when I don't know what it is. It's like worse than the fire domain, where I have farmed it to an extent in which I can't even possibly describe. And I've gotten 2 critical like crown things, and it's just absolutely, like, I don't even know how that's possible at this point. It's just like it's going against the fucking odds aspect of everything, which makes, I think, everybody, and I'm not the only one who's having this problem, feel like this domain specifically is fucking you, which, by the way, is insanity, because it's probably not the case. Also, get plugged in. Jesus Christ. But yes, I have spent stacks on stacks on stacks, not only my resin, but my condensed resin. I used to have 40 or 50 really, 48 or something like that. I burnt it all, or not all, but a lot into this domain as soon as Eula came out, and my God, man, I have gotten like, I'm pretty much still where I was, which is heartbreaking. My Zhongli is stacked because this stupid other set I'm getting an okay amount of, but every sort of main DPS thing is just proving to be absolute atrocity. Like, again, this is all, and this is not even going to show you guys a proper showcase. Also, 99% of my artifacts are basically in the Pale Flame set and the Millilith set as well. But yeah, the Pale Wind set, by the way, I have burnt some of these into themselves, so I had to get rid of them. I had to get rid of something, and this was all that I had. So yeah, I've gotten theoretically more than all of these, which is the thing. And I only got critical rate things. So I got, I think, 4 critical rate ones, all of them being relatively like fine, but not great, but kind of like just fine. But the amount of healing bonuses I get, defense ones, attack, which is not really good with your crown, defense as well, it's just insane. It's crazy. So if you're one of the people who and I still have yet, to this day, I have still yet to get 1 critical damage crown. Not 1. What the fuck is that? That is insane. Yeah, man, I don't know. So for those guys who are like, Grin, you got Eula, and you haven't made many videos of her, and I'm just like, don't. Dude, don't. Okay, just don't right now. All right, because I have been, every day I'm like, all I need to do is get like 1 critical damage crown. I don't even care if it's butt, like its ass is completely scuffed. I'll still try to just show you guys, like, okay, if you have a lot of critical damage, this is what happens when it barely crits, but it'll eventually crit. It'll hit hard like this. I can't even show you guys that. But yeah, my stats right now, I got a little more crit damage, a little bit, but people be out here having, I don't know, man, people be out here having 20 or 200 crit damage and like 50 something critical rate, and they're out here like, yeah, so this is my like free to play, she has no consolation kind of build, and I'm just like, what? Are you shitting me? I guess it's somewhat honest because a person can just basically have all the business. They can just have all the luck on the planet and just get immediately what they need. So if you're one of those people, awesome. Just super happy. I am happy, but at the same time I'm like, God, why? Now with that being said, Eula still does damage, but nothing even near like where kind of Xiao is at, for me at least, because again, one of the things that, again, people aren't really pointing out, or at least some people are, but at this point, but not many, are the fact that Eula is fantastic. She is great. But if you're not able to hit hard enough with her, she's kind of fine. Because it's all about like how much you can consistently deal damage. So if you're a character, also apparently I unlocked a chest, weird. But yeah, if you're a character who is like Xiao, who can consistently deliver damage, I'm not even gonna try to find you. But yeah, if you're a character like Xiao who can consistently deal damage and you have somehow found enough energy recharge to make it so that you can back-to-back into his ult so that you don't ever have any downtime of just meleeing, then you can just use that to scale up his damage. Yes, he's clunky, but he can deal in a great deal of consistent damage output, whereas Eula is a burst character. Now that wouldn't be as bad if her base attack scaled more. She's basically, honestly, I don't even know if I should say that. I want to say she's basically like a weirder version of Razor, but to some extent less utilized, because there's nothing in the game that needs you to do 500 bajillion damage, but there is a lot of stuff in the game that needs you to consistently deal that damage. So that's why most people vie for giving her, forget about most things and just try to go crit rate and crit damage, so that you can actually scale your base attack to be around 13 to 15k on crit and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of the weirdness with her. I will say though, she's also a character that, like, I thought she was going to be a character that's very, very, very self-sufficient, which is what I was hoping for. Kind of like a Razor who doesn't need anybody, and he just kind of performs, which is great. At best, you could say Razor needs a shield character, right? But just because you don't want him to stop attacking. If he gets stunned and thrown up in the air, then he kind of starts falling apart, because his whole thing is attack speed and application of an element. Anyways, with Eula, you kind of need Electro. You kind of need Fischl to build her in a way that gives her non-stop energy, or her ult, basically. Good news is Fischl's pretty easy to build. Especially now, if you're farming for Elu, you're probably also going to have a great set for Fischl. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, yeah, that's what's happening. Also, I don't know when this video is gonna get to you, but honestly, events like this I don't feel like I need to point out, because they're kind of just like fluff, but they can be resource heavy, which is cool. But yeah, this is essentially what it is. Double rewards, that's activated now. We still have to crank out one of these. In fact, maybe we should just quickly do that right now. Whilst we talk about the agony, and this is honestly the problems with Eula, and again, I want to stress this immensely. I love Eula. I think she's fantastic, wonderful. But if we're talking about like strength, and also, well, mainly like free to play strength is what I'm trying to get at. If you do not have Eula with enough critical damage, her base attack is good but not great. And in order for her to do anything, you need to do a lot. Whereas there's a lot of characters where if you want her to do anything, you don't have to do a lot. And the reward for you doing a lot is not a lot. It's just kind of like, yeah. So instead of dealing like 4,000 or 8,000 damage, you're dealing a burst of 15. But mind you, she attacks pretty damn quick, so you can easily get to that 15 with just a couple more swings. Is it even worth stacking up both of these? No. So that's my only problem with Eula, is it feels like her reward systems aren't sufficient. Like, again, people are saying that Eula is a complex character. I don't really get it. I don't know, man. You hit this twice, and then you do a smash, you activate your ult, you hit your E again, and then you basically just wait to do your charge attack. And that's it. Like, I don't know. People would be like, Eula's like a lot, and I'm like, yeah. you play mobile games. Okay. I'm not judging, I'm just saying, it's like, what? Again and again. People could be like, but my Eula hits for like 30,000, bang, hard as shit. When I do my like double charge and then my hold, which scales off physical damage, which can hit really hard. Sure. Again, I still think I could deal more damage with just flurrying. Now the good news, you can do both of those on top of each other, but it also does stagger out a great deal. Yeah. Anyways, let's just try to manage this real quick. That guy's not real. And partially how Eula plays, and me not being happy with it is my fault, if I'm being honest. I was really expecting Eula to kind of be like, again, a physical damage DPS, not a physical burst damage DPS, which I kind of just wanted like a character that's base melee was just godly, and not much of anything else. Like maybe it, like her E and her ult facilitated her base melee dealing a lot of damage. People would just say that's Razor, but not really, because Razor has a limit because he's a 5 or 4 star. Eula, the developers kind of said this, it seems like. Eula is very much just like, hey, you're a physical DPS, don't you want to do the same damage as these vaporized comps? And I'm like, not really, I can just use the vaporized comps. And they're like, well, and I'm like, okay, I get a big-thighed waifu, why not, I guess. That one's real. But yeah, so yeah, again, I'm very much happy with Eula. It's not the problem necessarily. In fact, there's no real problem. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but yeah, the reason why you need official is because of superconduct. Like, in order for you to be dealing like 14 or some damage, you need to shred the resistance by a lot. And there's nothing else that you really need besides superconduct, which is also kind of shitty because you would rather use other characters, but they only give you 20%, whereas superconduct I think gives you like 80 or something crazy. So you're like, oh, why would I use 20? Well, yeah, like it's not worth the slot. I could just put in an electro character and get some benefits. Also, official is such a good in slot support that it's kind of just like derp, you know. But yes, great. This is the best part of this event. Makes me so happy every time. Okay, it's a fruit that's yellow. Great. Fruit that's yellow. I assume it's the grapefruit. This. Is correct? Hopefully. It is. Nice. Yeah, that one's just like a little like... Okay. It's just a lot of like... Why is this... This isn't fun necessarily. Or maybe it is for some people. But I don't know, I think people like the combat aspect of like running around and fighting things more than that, but I could be wrong. No, we were both bad. God damn it. Let's just double check. All that. I remember I used to play with Oz. It was always just like, really? What did you say? I'm only half paying attention. But again, like there's moments like this where, like again, most things can't survive you. So it's not an issue of like you not dealing damage, it's just an issue of the reward system is feeling like completely out of whack. Yeah, and it's a really weird thing to like describe because people oftentimes like will see the gameplay and they'll be like, well, what's your problem though? Like, why are you unhappy when it seems like it's doing the job more than enough, you know? Found one! Oh my god, you're fucking hiding. Jesus. Oh, so you know. What? Yeah, I wonder if they can track that. They're like, you're just skipping 80% of it, and I'm like, yeah, I am. What are you talking about? Here we go. We're gonna start with one of these. We're gonna do one of these. Well, never mind. Let's go over here and do one of this. Do this. Drop a hammer, and now we're gonna start using Eula. Build up them stacks, but again, by the time we get, again, I'm not sure how you would fix Eula's kind of business. So let's do one of these. Boom, we should have bursted damage. We'll use this now. We'll attack one more time. Now we got 2. Now we'll just keep hitting. So again, it's not like she's hard to play. Oh, I fucked it up. My controller dropped out of my hand because of my hand problem, and I didn't get the business. Anyways, unfortunate. Let's do this. Let's do this. What happened? I got super overloaded, I guess. Do that. Also, I just have a good amount of supports, which is something. We'll do that for you. So now I believe you should. We should be able to do this. We'll do this. And we'll do one of those, and now we have max, but by the time we get to being able to use it again, you'll probably be dead, but wait! Well, no, you were. So, yeah. Yeah, not that complicated to play. That's not the problem. It's, again, the problem is that, like, again, like your melee is doing enough to where, what do you call it, you might as well just not use your E. Like, but by the time you can use your E again, the person's dead, so you can't even utilize that ability. So I don't know if you tighten up the cooldown on that to be really, really less, or if you, I don't know, if you give her E more damage, you scale down the damage of her base attack. I don't know, because I don't have the greatest stats for her at all. Again, people who are doing 1,000 or to have 200 and some odd crit rate. That shit's wild, you know? I did your nonsense for you, weird hurley trail man. It tells me where the last one of these people are. Let's go kill him, and then we'll go do a little more testing with Eula. I want to show you guys more about like that way she plays. Even though I'm sure you guys are 100% on it now. My only thing is that I want to make Eula videos, but I just want to make sure I can get crit damage up so that I can start dealing like, because when you're doing 4,000 damage on a hit, my Xiao hits for 4,000 damage consistently. So it's kind of like, well, this is just silly. But you guys could argue that maybe her main damage, if you do everything in the right sequence, can be like 100,000 damage you deal with just her ult. And if you have enough recharge, you can just feed into her ult again. Yes, but again, there's a problem with burst characters. There's a problem with you sometimes, most of the time, not even needing your ult because your base damage with just the cooldowns, things don't live that in period. Things don't live that long in Genshin. Period. From walking until lunch. I don't know what that means exactly. That's actually the most vague one I've ever had. I would assume it's this, because lunch is 12, which is here, right? I don't know. Let's go try this. Let's try this. I don't know. Fingers crossed. That looked like this was the actual time. No, that's right. We got it. All right, we can do official weirdness. This. Not the. Well, actually, no. We still got the damage buff because yeah, I have 2 artifact sets on 1 character, which yes is not optimal. I know. But anyways, boom, boom. Always interrupt this. In fact, that's the one thing that I can tighten up with my gameplay, but it's just because I forget. But it's basically that you need to. You should probably do 1 dash with Eula and then jump into another character. And boom, we should probably get enough points to do this. And then we'll do this, and then we'll have enough for the next go of it, which we have right now. And that's probably, we live enough for us to do, yeah, see, we did 132 damage. Boom. Yeah, so that's where my Eula's at, not 500, which is what most other Eulas are at. And it's just because, again, man, I have just been getting just throttled with artifacts. Because, like, to me, the thing that sucks is, like, okay, if I had an abundance of crit rate, I'd be like, okay, so then I just need to swap out my critical damage modification, right? Right? No, because I'm getting a lot of crit rate out of my crown. So, like, I'm getting 31 crit rate, so I'll have 30 of less. I'll have, like, 20 something from my crit damage. So, to me, it's just like, man, when you see these videos of people doing testing, it's like, these fucking guys are spending either getting real lucky, or they're spending a shit ton of money on resin refills. And it's just like, oh, but I feel like you should put that in the context of being like, hey, so by the way, guys, I'm talking about how cracked Eula is. What you didn't see is me farming for 6 years, you know, or just burning what the equivalent is of like $100 over the course of 2 weeks on random video game pieces, flowers and crowns and nonsense. And again, some people might be like, yeah, let's do this. Me, I'm like, it's just a little frustrating because I would like to make videos and showcase the character, but I'm kind of not able to. I guess that's not true. I could always just show you, like, again, my Eula can get the job done more or less. It's just not to the extent in which she seems to have that, like, massive cap, you know what I mean? But maybe that's more of a realistic outlook, as Eula isn't able to do that normally, unless you're willing to spend in abundance. Or also just get lucky. That's where I should very much toe the line, is some people could just get very, very lucky very, very quickly. And yeah, it's not about them spending a bunch of money, but it's just them getting lucky in this specific kind of way. But yeah, again, just the fact that I haven't got 1 critical damage crown, not 1, is just kind of like, I don't even, but also, man, this is not our first rodeo in this fucked up kind of like artifact situation. But I've never had it usually this bad. I've had like a critical damage decal that finally drops, or not decal, sorry, critical damage crown that finally drops, and then it's like the worst possible variant you could ever have. Defense, or defense stat, not percentage, attack stat, and then HP percent, and then what do you call it? What's the other one? Elemental mastery, which she could use none of. So yeah, I'm kind of just like, okay, what? Shit. Okay, so just so this video is not just me being like turning into a weird Chewbacca who's having a stroke, but instead, to be very clear, my issue with Eula, gameplay-wise, is that her abilities do not feed into each other because of how other abilities scale. So again, if you're using Eula, there's so many times in combat where I'm not able to use her E, because her one ability is just on, if that 3 seconds is what, like, even if you're playing a pretty shit character, most things in the world don't last 30 seconds if you're wailing on them. Especially if you happen to be built for physical damage. So that just seems like a really big undersight. It's almost like the idea outweighed the actual intrinsic value of the character. Which, like they were like, we need to make a physical damage burst character, but then they did the testing and they were like, but sir, this doesn't really work. We're not able to actually use like her E or anything. Shouldn't we change her E to amplify what she can do a lot of, which is her base attack? And he's like, well, maybe we just throw like a physical damage thing on the end of it, so that you need to get 2 stacks. But sir, most things don't live long enough for you to even get 2 stacks. Because she scales off physical damage and she's just hitting a ton, so it doesn't make much sense. And then no, he's still like, no, that's good. So I don't know, I don't really get it, to be honest. And if you have any support characters, most things don't last as long as you have to wait. Is the crippling thing with you, at least to me. So it's like her kit doesn't make sense. And it's not that her kit's not good, but her kit feels like it's not flowing into itself really well. And you guys be like, Grin, you have a cracked character. I don't. I have a decent amount of crit rates. I have a level 5 5-star weapon, and you guys would be like, see, Grin, you have a 5-star weapon. That's what's doing it. No, I have a Xiao that does more than she does, consistently, I should say. I think she can probably burst damage more than my Xiao, but if I gave Eula and Xiao the same amount of time to deal damage, I could easily output Eula if it was more than like 15 seconds of damage to produce. So my problem is just that her abilities seem to not make sense, and people are like, they're gonna buff Eula. I just hope they make things work out and make sense. That doesn't mean I want them to weaken her main attack. In fact, I like the way she attacks a great deal. And I don't think tweaking the stuff in her E would take away from the fact that you can do a burst attack. And I don't know, I've been hearing a lot of people say, all you need to do with Eula, hey, look at me, all you need to do with Eula is just decrease her energy regen, her energy cost to 60. And I'm like, my guy, you have artifacts where your crit damage is, I think, beyond 50, and you have around 260 or 270 crit damage. So your base melee is just hitting things anyway. Like, I don't know, do you even use your E? Do you even need to use? Probably not need to use your E. So to me, it's like, wait, you're scaling off of the most godly luck artifact thing I think you can attain. And this could just be, again, maybe people could be like, that's not true, Grin. You're just getting hyper unlucky with your artifacts. And yeah, I have all my artifacts have crit rate on them, and yeah, so I don't know. I get maybe that, but if that's the barrier of entry, then rough for everyone else. Her combat feels like it does. Her kit doesn't actually, you don't actually get able to use it. Even if you're playing what do you call it, with less good stats in like less good artifacts, I still think it doesn't make sense, because if you have official or anybody who can also put like, or what do you call it, Shinsho's ult, and you have enough regen, you're going to be dealing more damage, and you're going to deal more single target damage to things before you can actually use her E for 3 seconds. And for Razor, it kind of makes sense, because you can use your E. That's also what we should talk about. The reason why I compare Eula to Razor is not because of some of the reasons you may think. It's because of how their kits feed into each other. That makes so much sense. Whereas, and Eula's makes sense, but it makes sense on a time window interval kind of reward system, which you don't get to use. Whereas Razor, Razor's whole thing is his E is basically a glorified charger. It's a power button. So that if you're playing a Razor at the most optimal level possible, and you're not just unga bunga hitting things, and that's what people constantly give shit to Razor. That's just because they have such good stats into energy recharge, when you could put that into attack and scale up his damage with anything else, because the way his kit works is gaining seals. You use your E to accrue seals, and then you spend those seals with a charge attack, giving you a shit ton of energy recharge. And if you pace out this properly, you know exactly the right amount that you can use your E. Your 3 seals can regain your basically ult, so that you're not sitting with a long cooldown for a long time. You can basically use your E to slowly start inching up to your ult, and then when you get to the certain threshold, you can spend it all and basically get your ult back immediately. This all facilitates using your ult in like a very smart time interval kind of window thing. Whereas with Eula, it doesn't feel like that time interval actually makes sense and actually allows you to use it. So yeah, that's the weirdness with that. The good news is that Eula, her charge attack has like an additive of like being physical damage based, where Razor is still caught in the elemental / physical kind of nightmare, which he can't escape from because he doesn't know which one he is. He's physical, but there's also ways you can build him for Electro, and maybe that will be more beneficial if basically in 1.6 if the elemental reactions get buffed. But yeah, so that's kind of the weirdness of the gameplay that I find a little odd. The second thing is just I'm having a real nightmare time with my artifacts. That's it. Again, one of the things I don't want this to sound like Eula's bad. It's not that Eula's bad. It's one, Eula is good, but Eula can be kind of silly good if you have the most broken artifacts imaginable. And I feel like a lot of people are under the conception of, oh, I'm gonna get Eula because I've seen all this damage that they're able to deal. And not that, hey, by the way, I either got really lucky with my artifacts, or I had to spend like so much resin on this. Go team. Now, here's where I'm at, personally. This is all the 4 problems are me with content creation. Of like, I'm annoyed that I can't facilitate the character as well as what do you call it? Actually feel like I'm using all of her mechanics. I feel like I'm stopped halfway through. I love Eula. That's my like, as me as a person, I'm gonna keep investing in Eula until I get the stupidest artifacts, and that's what's gonna gain my attention for a long time. So as a player, I'm just gonna keep chipping away at this. Just keep throwing my resin into that nightmare of a domain, and have all the most broken artifacts for Zhongli. Cause yeah, or Fischl. In fact, I think at some point I probably should switch Fischl to Noblesse Oblige, but also she works so well with the other one, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, just that's my game plan. Just a bop, 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 as much as I possibly can. But it's a little unfortunate because I want to level up Zhongli past level 70. I want to level up Fischl past level 60. Same thing with Xinqiu. So that's not the problem. It's just the problem of like, man, Eula's requiring a lot to eat. She's a thick girl. Okay, it makes sense, honestly. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking, by the way, about also I stopped getting the Welcome Moon because I'm just kind of sitting on a lot of Primo gems, and I'm kind of just like, the events probably will take care of me. At least fingers crossed they will. Ooh, I was really hoping that they would reset with better drop chances, or better like loot in here. It's unfortunate. I was hoping to get more Xinqiu from there because I'm close to maxing our boy out, and his final constellation is a little nutty. But anyways, the reason why we're over here, by the way, real quick, I just want to show you guys a little more gameplay of her. And again, it's not of a fact that she can't deal damage. That's not why I'm upset. It's not, honestly, not a fact that she doesn't deal, or that she deals too much damage either. It's just the ability that I can't use her abilities. And then people would say, okay, we'll switch to, what do you call it? Switch. Oh, actually, we might want to try that. Yeah, let's do that. People could say, okay, Grin, well, it's your weapon. Switch to a weapon that is like free to play viable, and you'll be like, that's how you're supposed to play her. Even though that's not the problem. It's just the fact that most things die, even if you have support characters within 3 seconds, or less than 3 seconds. So you're not even going to use her kit, and you don't even just need to do it for 3 seconds, you need to do it for 6 seconds. Or something weird. Well, not really. If you have her ult, then it's not as bad. But anyways, let's throw on this one, which is a free-to-play option. That's going to give you a little more physical damage. So this actually should increase her white damage to a small extent. If I'm, at least for, it's going to be more consistent, but my other one peaks essentially, whereas this one doesn't. But yeah, let's go ahead and run around and use this big-ass claymore, which, by the way, I kind of like the look of more than the other one, which is kind of fucked up, but yeah. Oh, also, I passed you guys, forgive me. Ka-ka! Boom! And this. Look at that, 4,000 damage. We're still doing 8,000 damage. Again, can't use my one ability. Now we have 2. Now we have 2. Look at that. Look at us go. I may be able to use it. Look at it. Boom! And then I could use my ult, but there's no reason to use my ult, so it's kind of just like, we're a burst character, but yet there's no reason to use your ult. So it's like, dope. Fucking what? I don't know. But also, I don't know how you would tweak the character to make things make sense, like to create a razor-like effect, not in terms of like being a razor, but facilitating your abilities to feed into each other intrinsically and actually making that time window make sense. Yeah, so I don't know. Regardless, yeah, it's not a matter of like the weapon not being good enough or the weapon being bad enough. It's just a matter of not being able to actually use the mechanics in play. And again, my artifacts are not great. My artifacts can use a lot more work. I need a lot more crit damage in order to be able to deal the damage that most people have been seeing. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. I am very much enjoying Eula. Again, it's not a matter of her not being strong enough. It's not a matter of her being weak in a way. No, it's just me thinking that she has kind of issues, and those issues being, I think, issues I would have liked to know about, which maybe. No, I probably still would have got her just because I like the look of her so much, and I'll just make her work. And I know a lot of people who are like that as well. But that's because I'm in a state of abundance, meaning I already have characters that can get me through the game, Shao, etc., that I don't need to make everything fall into place. I can dedicate time into investing in a character that may not get me as much right now because I already have things to take care of. Just wanted to update you guys on the fact that I'm getting railed by the artifact system, and as well as I'm sure a lot of you are as well as Eula's kind of reality, the reality of Eula. Now that, again, I don't know, I felt this way since the cuff, man, and people were really like, fucking she's crazy, and I didn't want to piss too many people off. And I don't know, maybe I'm completely unfounded with how I'm perceiving her kit. But yeah, that's kind of just some things I've been seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. You've been nothing shy of lovely. Thank you so much for putting out with me. Again, please challenge me, correct me if I'm way off, and I'm maybe just maybe it's far best to not use her special unique sword and instead buy the season pass and use like a critical rate sword, just so you can have critical rate and a critical damage modification on your crown whenever I do get it, and that can get you to around hitting for like 14,000, and you don't need the 31,000 physical damage buff. It doesn't go as far as critical damage does. Grin, go with that. Mayhaps, maybe that's the way that we need to play. But yeah, nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Subscribe button's over there, as well as 2 videos further that way. Be on the lookout for more Genshin content. We're going to continue to update the game and update you guys on the game and everything new. Again, but this is why content has been slow for Eula, is just because of the artifact nightmare. So it's not like I'm not loving the game still or wanting to produce content for it. It's just that luck can be a pain sometimes. But thank you so much for putting up with me. Thank you again for the 4th or 5th time, and goodbye. Also, if you like the video or something like that, or share it around, appreciate you immensely. More than you could ever know. Thank you, and goodbye.